Hey everyone, so in a previous video where I showed you how I store my makeup and things of that nature, you've probably saw this palette over here. This is the Z palette, the Z Dome palette from Z Palette. It is very, very deep, and it's actually deep enough so you can store mineralized skin finishes. So today I've got many questions on a previous video how I depot my mineralized skin finishes. Extremely simple, like no heat needed. I'll show you that in a second. Now let's start by depotting this beautiful MSF over here. If you want to know what it is Hurt Shine Mineralized Skin Finish. Okay, so basically first thing you need to know is MSF are not in metal pans, which means if you want to take the heat route to depot this, it's not going to work really well because the metal is not going to kind of help melt the glue that sticks underneath it. So I said there's no metal part with this product. This is a baked product, which means MAC bakes these on terracotta plates. So these are going to be, there's glue underneath, but the glue, to me what I found is the glue is less strong. I guess it's a less strong adhesive on this terracotta plate than on metal. So what I do, and I've done this on 6 of my mineralized skin finishes. If you look at it, you're gonna find that there's a rim that's going to have a gap between the product and the actual container. So for me, where I see that there's a gap is right over here. So what I do is simply I take my, just be careful because you're using a knife or something sharp. I'm just going to gently just dent it over, and I can hear the glue getting loose. You just need to be very careful, take your time, and I'm just going just around where there's a gap. See, it already moves. The terracotta is not gonna break, and the glue is definitely less strong than on metal. So see, super easy. Just play with it. Once you have a good like, you can go right underneath it, and then you just wiggle your knife or whatever. If you want to depot this, you might want to ask your parents or whatever. Just be very careful. And see, it just came out like this. See? And there's the glue underneath. And this is terracotta. So the glue is definitely less strong than on metal. So once you have that, you can just stick a magnet on the back. You add your name, and then after you can put it in this palette over here. This is the Z palette. The Dome Z palette. So see, you have it right over here. Super easy. And then you can return this back to MAC. And you see there's no like chemicals, you didn't use any heat. So it was pretty easy. And remember to take this to stick on the back of your product in your Z palette. Now I need to put a disclaimer here. All of the skin finishes from MAC are baked on terracotta plates, but MAC released the extra dimension skin finish. These are not baked at all. They're almost sort of a cream finish. I have this over here, which is called Whisper of Guilt. These are not baked. These are actually, I depotted this, but I do not recommend depotting it because it's a hassle. They're actually on plastic grids, so there's no, like, there's the product coming through. So what I did is basically I cut a parchment paper, I glued it on the back, then glued a magnet and the name of the stick, the name of the product right on it. So this was more of a hassle because it's not baked. I'm happy I depotted it, but it was definitely more tricky than the mineralized skin finishes, which are baked on terracotta. Now this is not baked on terracotta, it's not a baked product. So there you go, guys. I showed you how I depot my MSF from MAC and where I store them in this beautiful Z palette. This is available on zpalette.com. It is the domed palette. So it's very, very deep, so you can store your mineralized skin finishes.